maybe touch on the matters, the issues that you feel they are very, very silent to the bill. I know there are a lot of matters written, but since members have the submission, some of them, those which you feel don't raise much questions and concern, members will discover about them. So we only talk on those which you feel they are very, very important. So let me give you the position to present the submission.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson and the Honorable Members. Indeed, we are stakeholders in this process, but as you rightly pointed out, we are aware our colleagues from the administration, the judicial administration, most likely also presented almost similar views to you, and we are really from the same house. We wouldn't like to bother you with the repetition of what they've presented to you. However, maybe of interest from our write-up, which I'm glad you have acknowledged you have, of course, the small claims court has become a permanent feature in our judicial process. And there's always need to either perfect it, improve on it, and so on. So literally new areas sometimes come up where we would need to improve. You know, for instance, like when you look at the jurisdiction, the jurisdiction, of course, has changed a bit in terms of, from inception, I think it was about 20,000, and now it's about 75,000 currently. Of course, it's not made in concrete. It might change depending on the environment. Essentially, really, the idea was to sort of remove small, obvious claims from our mainstream court system to this court where individuals can come at a cheaper cost, litigate, and have a result. So for now, I think 75, I think, is proving to be quite useful. But of course, if time comes for it to be reviewed, it will be. Chair, our main interest really in this proposed bill is the aspect of human resource. As you may know, Honorable Chairperson and Honorable Members, the Judicial Service Commission is mandated by the Constitution to deal with the human aspect in the judiciary. We are the employers. We manage their conditions and provide even issues of discipline. So you will note from the proposed amendment that it will become very essential in terms of appointments, scrutinizing people who are capable to come and assist to run this small court claim. So basically that's our major interest in the whole thing. Of course, we do appreciate the other changes which are proposed, like, you know, the bringing in of the corporate world to come and maybe also litigate, which was not the case before. And also the tenure has been made more certain. In the past, we had situations where somebody is a commissioner, but maybe in the process gets appointed to some other position. They still maintain that position as commissioner in the small claims court. So now with the tenure and the fact that there will be periodic reviews of performance and things like that, it will be very, very interesting to see the new commissioners now literally, you know, spending most of their time attending to what they've been appointed to do, instead of saying, no, I can't come today, I've got some other assignment. So the issue of tenure is very important to us, and these are our people. It will be our job to ensure that the people who are forwarded or selected to be commissioners, one, they have the time, two, they've got the competence to ensure that they carry on this important mandate. So that's one of our major interests in this process. So literally we will be, I'm sure as time goes, decentralizing to most areas where we have got our institutions. And a number of these commissioners might be even our employees directly, but others might come from the League of Fraternity, but they have to come through the process. So we are very grateful, and that's why we support this bill, because it will bring order and the certainty to this process. Honorable Chair and the honorable members, as we know, the importance of this small claims court is accessibility, definitely. The more the common people access these courts, it will be not only better for themselves, but also for the institution. There will be a lot of offloading of small claims, small cases from the mainstream to these small court claims, which should be done expeditiously without a lot of legal impediments. So the very reason why we, Your Honor, we are supporting this this bill. And further, you will note that there's a provision actually even for review. So meaning that within the same small courts environment, reviews can be conducted, determined, and the result quickly known. So that, as we know that the appeals can only be on points of law, not otherwise. So it's our belief that accessibility to justice will be enhanced by this these proposed amendments. So unless my colleague will add one or two things I've missed, but for our interest in the Commission, literally the human aspect is very important. The task is placed on the Chief Justice. He will of course make a recommendation to us to be even interviewing those people, and they look at their CVs and so on. Would you like to add?
Thank you, Chair and honorable members, and thank you, my Chair from the Judicial Service Commission. I just want to underscore the issue of accessibility, which the honorable Chair has already alluded to. Currently, the small claims court is only operating at Lusaka, Ndola, and Kitwe. And one of the major constraints to rolling out this very useful and user-friendly courts to the other provinces has been the issue of human capital. The Act, the law, as it stood then, only allowed for the appointment of legal practitioners. And historically, we are all aware, Chair, I would like to believe, that it's only now that we are seeing even law firms opening in other provincial centers in the country. So with the government's decentralization agenda, we've seen offices of maybe the Attorney General's chambers, the DPP, so now they've deployed legal practitioners in these provinces. And as we have also, as the judiciary sent the provincial high courts to sit in those provinces, there's also been support staff that's been deployed there, for example, research advocates. And these are senior lawyers that can assist to also quickly dispose of these other small claims court matters. So with that decentralization agenda, and with the introduction of extending the pool of small claims court commissioners to include judicial officers and defining the tenure, it means that we are now able, from the Judicial Service Commission to appoint people to sit in those provinces and service those provinces that have long been deprived of this very critical resource of a small claims court. That is what I wanted to add to the conversation. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Maybe you can, the Chair.
I think, Honorable Chairperson and Honorable Members, I think we have covered in a nutshell what we have written in detail to this Honorable Committee. Of course, the issue also of funding, which we have mentioned in our write-up. At the end of the day now, we are talking of appropriations through this important house, and there may be also from fees which might be levied, clearly indicating that this project of small claims court is growing to an extent where issues of funding, wherever possible, should not be an impediment. So that aspect, I think, is also a very new, a very welcome move. So with those, Honorable Chairperson, I think we are ready for discussion or questions. Thank you.
Thank you for that presentation. Honorable members, Honorable Amata, then Honorable Chinkuri, then in that order, Honorable Zulu.
Thank you so much, Chair. According to your submission, you are saying the enactment of this law will enhance the expansion of the small scale, namely the small claim court to other districts, or if you like provinces where it is not available. Maybe if you could give more details how this act will help in the upscaling or having these small claim court in other areas where it is not available. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Monty.
Thank you, Chair. Allow me to ask you very short, three concerns. The first one, we're looking at in line with what my colleague has, Honorable Matters, asked, where we're trying to expand from these three, I don't know, those provinces or districts to various, places in line with decentralization. Have we considered the aspect of accommodation for these? Do we have infrastructure that is going to cater for, all these, ones that we want to bring on board? The second aspect is the issue of appointment of commissioners, where the Chief Justice will be allowed to appoint. Now, we just want to know the criteria that will be used. Will those to be commissioners, apply, or what criteria are we going to use to select people for appointment? The third and final concern, we're looking at the penalties that have been revised upwards. I don't know how helpful these, penalties will enhance the efficiency, and we're talking about 100,000, looking at 75,000, issues to do within 75,000 kwacha. Now looking at the penalties that are, so I don't know, I just need some clarity in those lines. Chair, I submit.
Honorable Zulu.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, so I'm happy to have a privilege to sit in another committee where the budget for the judiciary was being discussed. Now, I just want to be informed, or member the commission to tell us, because they're complaining about the staffing levels that are not very good. In addition to that, the court is just is only operating in 3 districts, the whole country, and we all know that cases to do with these small claims are everywhere across our country. And we know that there are some other cities with bigger population as well, maybe closer to Kitwe or so, maybe some more than in Dollar population, and we haven't put up the small claims court on these areas. And my question to you is, as a commissioner, you are the people who are mandated for the service for emolument, for judiciary, and as well as maybe a deployment of staffs. So for what is your plan to do with these other remaining districts? Because we can't be talking about provincial levels, we need to be talking about district levels. So if you look at your plan in the next 5 years or so, in the next 2 years, 3 years, what is your plan concerning this court? Because this is a very important court for me, more than even some of the bigger courts, because this caters for the less privileged people. So what is your plan on this one, since you are the commission? Thank you, Chair.
You can respond to those questions.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson and Honorable members. Maybe let me start with the issue of expansion and tied to the issue of plans to accommodate the other areas in this process. Honorable Chairperson, we do acknowledge that this is a very important program for the whole nation. And you may wish to know, Honorable Chairperson and Honorable members, that we recently undertook a tour of various districts, which of course we are still continuing, to see how our people are facing these challenges in terms of access to justice, the distances they cover, the amounts involved. And we thought, much as it's something we have to do maybe at a large scale, we felt as a commission that there's always a start. We need to make a start. We are making starts, and we are going to expand. Just as this Honorable House will remember, not long ago, the judiciary actually devolved to provincial centers. We've got now judges stationed in the provincial centers. Now, these judges come with a whole lot of support staff. She spoke of the research advocates. These are qualified lawyers. But in addition, you have got registrars and so on to assist the high courts in the provincial centers. Now, these members of staff are capable of becoming commissioners to help resolve these small claims. Not necessarily the litigant, but as commissioners to help mitigate the challenges our people in the outlying areas are facing. So it's an issue where we even engaged the local administrators, the local councils, because, Your Honor, as you rightly pointed out, this is a national program, and we should all take pride in participating. They've got CDF. In Kabwe, for instance, we've been able to make even things like wall fences, cooperating with local councils to improve security and to improve structures. These are meeting rooms which can be converted into courtrooms for resolution of small claims. Would not cost much, but it will become useful infrastructure for the provinces, where commissioners can sit and they resolve disputes. It's an issue we are pushing forward with the local councils to make sure that as they disburse the CDF, they must also take into account that the litigants in these small claims courts are also living in their communities. They need these facilities. CDF, Honorable Chairperson, has brought economic development, which of course will bring rubbing of shoulders. There will be need to resolve disagreements quickly to enable people go about their lives. So it's an issue which we can jointly attend to wherever possible to provide the infrastructure. Definitely, it's not something which can be done within a day, but we are aware the resource envelope, if we went to central government, is not enough to cater for massive and quick implementation of infrastructure, which we would love to see. Because even now, our judges who are in provincial centers, they are facing challenges in terms of chambers. We are slow even in seconding support staff to them, because they will have no room where they can operate from. The local magistrates are being inconvenienced because chambers are being shared in most cases. But the issues of justice are also so important. We cannot wait until God knows when we'll be able to start selling gold to realize enough money to make massive investment at the same time. But surely our local people must understand that in a small way we are going to start the program. Maybe.
Thank you very much. Just to add on to what the Honorable Chair has alluded to, in the immediate term, I am aware, and this issue is yet to come to the Judicial Service Commission from the judiciary, the Honorable Chief Justice's Advisory Committee on the Small Claims Court has in the immediate term plans to open operations early next year, if everything goes according to plan, at Chipata, under the supervision of the provincial judge in charge, at Nakonde in Mochinga, realizing how busy Nakonde as a border town is, and Livingstone as well. The deciding factors, of course, have been largely informed by the fact that we now have Legal Aid Council and 2 law firms, I think, also in Chipata, where a pool can be recommended for appointment by the Judicial Service Commission. Mochinga Nakonde also has lawyers, counsel in the public service, as well as the city councils themselves, and research advocates. Then Livingstone also has research advocates, and it also has lawyers in the Office of the Attorney General, and I think the Legal Aid as well. So there's now been a pool from which small claims court commissioners can be recruited at these stations that have been identified in the immediate term. As the chair has said earlier, it is a progressive initiative that cannot be achieved to cover the whole country in a day. But I think there's a famous Japanese proverb that the journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. So in the immediate term, Honorable Chair and members, there will be Chipata, Nakonde and Livingstone, and then we progress in that fashion. There was a benchmarking exercise which was conducted by the Kenyan Small Claims Court. They came to see because they appreciated the disposal rate by the Zambian judiciary in the Small Claims Court. And we learned something. As much as they came to learn, we also learned something very crucial and important to them. And they demonstrated to us in real time how their Small Claims Court functions. So to deal with the issue of infrastructure, what they've done is make the Small Claims Court paperless. And the question then arose, what happens to the indigent? What happens to a person in a remote area? So they were saying, even a conference call on the phone, they were using WhatsApp, and they were using even just simple Microsoft Teams applications. So they gave us a live experience of their system, and they showed a litigant who was at their shop in something that looks like Soweto or City Market, at their shop just on their phone on WhatsApp, and the other party also on their phone on Teams or whatever platform they were using. And the particular Small Claims Court judge was sitting at their office remotely, far away from where these people were sitting. These are small businesses and they can't leave. So they were there. They person who was making a claim presented their case. The other party said, no, in fact, I'm happy to pay these installments if we agreed. All the court is doing now is producing the formal order, which is then sent even via their cell phones. So to deal with the issue of infrastructure in Kenya, they've leveraged off of these simple e-platforms, which I think going forward at the appropriate stage would also be good for us to incorporate, because we are able, as a Zambian community, now we're in a position now to use these facilities, and it has worked even in the judiciary of Kenya, for instance. So I thought I should just bring that out, that as we are dealing with the issue of infrastructure at an appropriate stage, we might, of course, with the support of the government and this august house, to introduce some of these initiatives. Thank you.
And so just to add on what she has said in terms of technology, it also even helps us as well to mitigate the issue which was raised here of staffing levels, which of course is a challenge. So when you have got such facilities, you are able to maybe have commissioners sitting in one area, but be able to deal with complaints or issues in the maybe next district. All that is required is to put the litigants or whoever together in one room, and they will be able to communicate with the commissioner. So that's one way of dealing with the issue of staff levels, which of course, as the institution is expanding, will always be a challenge. And the Honorable Chair, before maybe I've seen the hand there, the Honorable Member can come in. Let me also comment on the issue of selection of commissioners, which was raised. Indeed, this is a very important aspect of the process, because you must have the right people to attend to such a process. And as a result of that, even in our write-up, we've covered the issues of avoidance of conflict of interest, for instance. So what normally happens, even now, we do advertise. We do advertise. Those who are interested will apply, and we sit to interview them, to assess their abilities, capabilities, and availability to discharge functions under the small claims court. That aspect is very important, because it's a question which requires our people to have confidence in the people who are going to resolve or to help resolve their dispute. I mean, traditionally, Honorable Chairperson, it's like in the medical field. For us who grew in the villages, when somebody goes to the hospital, if they are not seen by a doctor, they always believe that they have not been seen. But they've been seen by maybe a paramedical or something. Treatment always the same, but they believe they have to see the doctor. So even our people, there are those who still believe that to get justice, you have to appear before a court, before a magistrate, or before a judge. So we need to make sure this process is transparent. They're able to see the people who are there to assist them resolve their conflicts. They are competent. They've got no issues. They've got no conflict of interest, but to help them resolve their dispute. I wanted to clarify on that issue. Thank you very much.
Yes, Honorable.
Thank you so much, Chair. I just want to comment on the issue of the commissioners, the staffing levels. As you try to also expand in the provinces or districts, you have also talked of we have some lawyers in this district, the council, other avenues also to see how you can use the CDF to put up some structure. Of course, there are these other avenues that can be employed. But then maybe you can also take advantage of the available qualified manpower in the councils. I'm aware that now all the 116, if I'm not mistaken, there are these lawyers we call the council advocate. Maybe those can also be incorporated, because I mean these are the qualified people who have literally very little to do. Yeah, I thought the chair could contribute.
Chair, just to agree with my colleague here. If you look at the government, they've taken up a position where, because of these issues with CDF issues and these other things, I think every council across the country, they've got legal advocates. And they are qualified lawyers as well, just like the Lusaka lawyers, by the way. So I think maybe we can look at that, so that maybe we can go up to the district levels quickly. I think that's what government, and you can still use council chambers for particular days. As I know, in rural areas we don't have courtrooms. Maybe we can also use council chambers as, for now, even as we provide, we build courts for council, and on the right or not, Chair, it's just difficult to build a court when you know that they'll take you to the same court. Thank you.
We're very grateful for that. Chair, I'm just wondering who I should follow after the House rises for these council chambers and these lawyers. They are needed like yesterday. It is a real issue, and I used to be registrar supervising the small claims court in 2021 to 2023, and because I had there's an MP from Nimba, Honorable Zulu. Honorable Zulu, I had a lady, a Maitembo. She used to come from Nimba for a matter that involved 3,500 kwacha at Lusaka. So at a point, I stopped, I intervened, and now in the government we have a non-cash handling policy, particularly in the judiciary. So what used to happen now, when the court sat, like for us the small claims court sat immediately and judgment was given, and the defendant said I'll be coming to pay 1,000 kwacha every month and then 500 in the last month. So this lady and the husband now will travel from Nimba to Lusaka to collect 1,000 kwacha, and they would come to my office. So I said, no, allow me, appoint me as your attorney. I will go collect as registrar and then seek the necessary authorities and then send the money to you. Because the cost of transport itself, and this was a small business that depended on this 3,500. So, and I know that Nimba is one of the districts that has benefited from council advocates. So the issues that you raise are critical and quite urgent because of the nature of the litigants we get before the small claims court. Thank you.
Indeed, the Honourable Chairperson and the Honourable Members, that's the reality on the ground. You recall I mentioned that we took a tour to various outlying rural districts. You really feel so sad to find an old person traveling 40 kilometers to go and claim 1,200 kwacha. And sometimes they have to sleep there. They have to look for food. And sometimes the trip is not fruitful. The other person might not come up, or the other person is just evasive, and they have to go back and they make several trips. So it's so important that the small claims court will be able in a way to mitigate some of these issues, where our people will be able to get what is due to them at a very small cost. The issue raised, the Honourable Chair, of the council advocate is welcome. In fact, not only in the small claims court, they are actually used in various ways. They are used as agents. In other ways, they are used in many forms. But we are very careful, especially when you are dealing with small districts. If you have got a council advocate in a small district, he might be a well-known person. There are sometimes issues you have to guard of conflict of interest. So those are the issues which in the judicial service we take care of to ensure that these advocates, when they are appointed, they have to be alive to the fact that where there is a conflict of interest, they just have to stand out and they declare that interest. But otherwise, it's a very welcome move. It's very useful to the communities around our country. I thank you.
Just needed to clarify, Honorable Chair, that the 100,000 and the 50,000 that are being alluded to are penalty units. They are not amounts designated in Kwacha.
Okay.
So we have to multiply that by the 0.4 and then it gives a lower amount. Thank you.
It's noted. So, honorable members, any further? There's none. We are done. We are satisfied. Yes. Yes.
Thank you so much for your responses. I just want some clarity. We're talking about judicial officer to be the one to be, who can be appointed into. Are we not restricting this position? Looking at you've got legal researchers and the like, can't those be part of the those that can be appointed as a commissioner by as demanded in section 6(3)? I submit, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable. So we have observed that from the way the bill has been crafted, it will now also, in addition, so it will be in addition to legal practitioners, research advocates, also permit the Honorable Chief Justice to designate certain judicial officers as small claims court commissioners. The mischief here is the same issue of scarcity of human resource. To deploy a legal practitioner to some of these districts, it will be difficult. But the Judicial Service Commission has deployed so many officers, judicial officers, magistrates. So, for example, a local court magistrate can also work as a small claims court commissioner if there's no one in that particular district. And the local courts, the magistrates' courts, are the widest in terms of coverage in this country. The High Court is luxurious, for lack of a better term. The true courts of the people are the local courts and the magistrates' courts. So if we are not able to get a legal practitioner or they are conflicted, we can't then fold our hands. We have to look at who else can best help resolve the dispute. So the long and short of it is that this will be in addition to try and expand so that we can try and utilize whatever legal person we can find in that particular locality to deal with disputes at this level without having excuses of unavailability of resource. I thank you.
Chair, maybe your last word.
Honorable Chair, I think in addition to what we have already forwarded to you in writing, that will cover our submission before this Honorable August House. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having a fruitful interaction, reaching a point where members are satisfied with the responses towards their questions. It's time to remove the immunity so that you go and serve your members and the general public at large. I'm wishing you a good day and thank you very much.
We thought we could keep the immunity for a day. We thank you.
Well, good morning and thank you for still being with us on Parliament Television. You're just from watching a live broadcast of the Committee on Legal Affairs, Human Rights and Governance, in which the Judiciary Service Commission was making a submission for the consideration of the Small Claims Court Amendment Bill, National Number 16 of 2026. And earlier on, the Judiciary also made a submission to this committee. Earlier on, we did broadcast the Committee on Agriculture, Lands and Natural Resources, in which the Zambia Compulsory and Standard Agency did make a submission, and that was for the consideration of the Cotton Bill, National Assembly Bill number 12 of 2025. I must make mention that the parliamentary committees are sitting, receiving various submissions on different subjects, and we also have the Expanded Planning and Budgeting Committee, which is receiving submissions for the consideration of the 2026 sector budget analysis reports. So I'd urge you to keep watching Parliament Television, the only station that brings Parliament closer to you.